Hey, we are Max and Troy. We are both developers at KYVE. We were both based in Germany and software developers there. And today we want to present you KYVE and how it could help you as dYdX users in your specific activities. And first of all, to just give you a general idea what KYVE does is it's at its core like a transfer validation protocol. And what this means basically is that we archive basically all types of data and validate it and permanently archive it on top of a storage provider. In this case, we mostly archive it on KYVE. It's a web-free storage provider and it has some very nice properties because it's permanent, which is very important for our case. And currently we still heavily focus on Cosmos chains, and what we mostly archive there are blocks and block results. And also state sync snapshots, because we believe that especially historical blocks, they are often in danger of getting lost. And as the backbone of every blockchain and every application that runs on top of it, we believe that's very crucial that this data is permanently available all the time. So we developed this protocol basically to ensure exactly this. And you can just check out on a web app and go through all the chains we have archived already. And of course, this includes also dYdX. It's currently deployed on our testnet, and it will also soon be available to mainnet. But then we can already showcase some of those features for the specific project. And the end goal is basically to build a decentralized data lake. And we have built also certain products on top of that, so you can also access this data. And we can start, basically how the validation works is that we have for every specific data type a pool. So looking at dYdX, for example, we have a pool which just archives dYdX blocks and block results, so basically the events. And in this dYdX pool, there are mostly 50 validators who all have independently running their own dYdX node. And with this, they join the pool, and whoever is the uploader, that can only be one at a certain round, can upload data or new data to KYVE, and all the other 49 validators are going to compare this uploaded data with the data they have locally. And then they, of course, vote on it. And if the bundle is deemed valid, it gets permanently archived to KYVE. And so with this round-based system, we can ensure that the data that is uploaded to KYVE is valid, and then it can be accessed later safely. And this is always the case for every pool that we have. So basically a pool is for every specific project or for every specific type of data, basically. And we are not only bound to KYVE, so this is kind of a modular architecture, so you can also swap out the storage provider to another storage provider, like for example Filecoin, or even a Web2 storage provider. But of course we prefer the permanency of KYVE in this case. But this is something that is always freely basically switchable. And coming to the first product we have built on top of the KYVE data lake is a K-Sync. So I'm not sure if you are validators, but in terms, if you want to run a validator node, you often have this decision to make if you want to sync your node from Genesis, or if you basically just want to state sync to the newest height, so you can join the networks in minutes. And it's often quite difficult actually to sync a node from Genesis, especially when a chain is older, because like I said before, often blocks at this historical height are quite difficult to access because of an unstable peer-to-peer connection, or in some cases even archival nodes are not available at all. So since KYVE has archived all those old blocks, you can, with the tool K-Sync, is like a CLI tool, you can access the blocks in KYVE's data lake and directly apply them to your node. So in this case, you could, for example, perform a full Genesis sync, so from block height 1 to the current live height, so all 25 million blocks. you can pull them down from KYVE and directly apply them to your node. And you can be sure that all the blocks are valid, since casing also, of course, checks if the checks are matches or if it's actually the data that got validated by KYVE. And another great feature, which actually wasn't possible before, is that you can also apply state sync snapshots. So with state sync, you can basically sync your state to a certain height and then continue from there, just like basically a shortcut. And up until right now, you could only state sync to the current live height. And with casing, since we have also archived all the historical snapshots, you can actually also sync to historical snapshots, which actually wasn't possible before. And so we have also built like the combination of those two, so that you can do a height sync. This is, I think, very interesting for developers, or like if you want to, for example, debug your chain, or like know like a question, which I will demo right now. For example, what was the balance of the community pool at dYdX? So normally you have to, like, if you're very lucky, you can find like a full archive snapshot, which is mostly multiple gigabytes or even like terabytes big. But with case, you can just apply the height sync, so it will search for the newest state sync snapshots just before the height, and it will block sync the remaining blocks until that height. And basically, this I will show right now. So I have here my terminal. I have ksync installed with the newest version. I have also the dYdX protocol binary installed, and all you have to do is just initialize it, so dYdX init, and then just install the Genesis file, and from there on you can do everything with ksync. So here we will apply the height sync command. So basically I just specify the dYdX binary, I specify the dYdX source, I point to a testnet chain which is called Kaon, and then I have my target height here. So I want to sync to this specific block height, and if I press enter, it will search through the data lake and finds me the newest snapshot around it and the blocks I need to sync to that height. So I can acknowledge that. And what will happen right now is ksync pulls down this state sync snapshot and applies it to the app. This just takes a few seconds. And after this has been completed, it will sync the remaining blocks up until the site. And this feature has some great benefits, because normally you would need to, like, if there were no snapshots available, you need to sync all the way from Genesis, which could actually take hours or even days. And so with this you can, you have basically a huge shortcut. And of course you don't need to sync to the historical heights. Of course we have also the live heights available. So in this case we archived every state sync snapshot at a 5,000 block interval. So you can always be sure that you find like a snapshot which is close to your live height. So now it has been completed. We have block sync to this height. So we can just start the dYdX binary normally. And so we can just check out the state. So for example, we want to know what was the balance of the community pool at this site. So we can just query the API endpoint real quick. And there we have it. So this is the balance at a certain height. So this information we could find out in just under a minute, which would normally take hours or even days. And if you want to read more on ksync, we have some links here. I will paste them afterwards into the chat, so you can check them out if you want. So of course, it's not only possible for dYdX, in case it's also possible for many other Cosmos chains. And I think especially for validators who regularly need to do backups, quite helpful, but also for projects, because projects often need to host their own archival nodes or even provide their own state sync snapshots, which of course costs resources. And so if KYVE archives their chain, they can rely on the data we have archived and not operate their own archival node, or they don't even need to provide their own state sync snapshots because it's all already integrated here. Then moving to the next part we have built on top of the data lake is the trustless API. And for every indexing service probably, they have encountered this issue that they also need like a reliable, oftentimes an RPC endpoint, where they can like query the events or transactions so they can index it. Or for other applications, you need to access certain data from the chain, and you're often familiar with the interface Cosmos provides. So you can, for example, query for block or block results. And so we thought of, okay, how can we make also the data we have validated and archived also accessible to those applications who just want to like retrieve this data as fast as possible. So we developed the Trustless API, and basically it looks very, very similar to the endpoints you already know. The only addition we have is, and I think this is very important, that we also provide basically a proof that this data you request was also validated by the KYVE network. So just give you an example of how this looks like is we have the staging environment up here where dYdX is currently running. And so we can just scroll down here. For example, in this case, we want to, yeah, 1 second. We want to check out or fetch a certain block. Then we can do it here. We get our response here. So this looks exactly like the response you get normally from an RPC endpoint. And here you have like the addition, which makes it special, which is basically we call it the inclusion proof. So with this, so we also have a client for that, you can verify that the data which got returned here was actually validated by KYVE. And we do this with a Merkle proof. So the Merkle root is archived on every bundle we have, and every additional information here is attached there. And we also wrote a client for that, so you don't have to do it yourself. It's written in Go currently, and we also plan to do it in for JavaScript applications. Then moving to the next tool that Max will present, which is especially useful also for data analysts. And Max, I will give this stage to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Troy. Yes, I'm very happy to provide you the third tooling KYVE provides. So we already learned 2 ways of like accessing the data. One is for node runners, the other one is for like endpoint users. And now with like the data lake in place, we have like all the raw data available. And one very nice use case is of course the analytical purposes. And this is where you want to load all the blocks, the transactions and the events into like a data warehouse where you then can run all your analytical queries, query certain balances, do some aggregations for like marketing or tax purposes. So what you basically do is like pretty similar with the rest of us. You go to KYVE, you get your data from the data lake, you verify it, and you put it in the database. For this, we wrote a tool which is called the data loading tools, also written in Go, which basically does the steps for you. I'm very happy to give you maybe like a quick intro for it, a quick demo. Therefore, we'll probably share the screen then. Okay.
Guys, in the meanwhile, I just wanted to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yes, can hear you
now. We can hear you.
Perfect, amazing. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here in the chat. If somebody has questions or anything, feel free to ping me.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
I'll leave you the stage, guys.
Sure. Okay, so it's confusing. So it was working in the test when we tested the screen share. Okay, so this is weird though. It was working like 10 or like half an hour ago.
So it starts to load and then it just closes again. Maybe you can restart real quick.
Yeah, probably restart. I'm so sorry for that. Like,
good. In the meantime, if you have questions to the talks we presented until right now, maybe it's good timing to ask them. Now we have a bit of time. Or is everything clear until now? So if there are no questions right now, then we will just wait a second and then we will just continue real quick. Max, in case you're talking, I think you're still muted.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Thanks so much. Okay, I'm back. I think everybody can see my screen now. Apparently Discord needs to do an update for whatever reason. Yes, so what we can see here, so if you're like a data analyst and working with Cosmos data, you are probably very familiar with this data representation. And these are like all the block results, which contain all the necessary events and all the DX results, and of course all the transactions which are needed to do like all the analytical stuff you want to do with the dYdX chain. The data load tool is basically comes with it's very lean. It comes with a very nice config. You just need to specify the KYVE pool ID is where the data was archived on the KYVE network. We need to specify an endpoint. At this time, we need to put in like the testnet endpoint. You can do some batch sizes. So I recommend this doing like on a server or something. Like I'm now doing this on my local machine. That's why it shows a small batch size. We can provide certain destinations. Right now we support Postgres and BigQuery. If some other requests come up, we're happy to include other adapters as well. Right now these one are the most requested ones. Almost everybody's using BigQuery. This time I will using Postgres. And the tool then basically, I can just run a quick demo. Let me delete my one table. And basically with the load command, I can immediately load it. We also support a sync command where you can run contingent syncs. For example, if you like have a pipeline, you want to keep everything updated, you can tell it with a cron or something. Please update this like every 10 minutes. And then your pipeline is always in sync. This just needs to run on a dedicated server then. And if I load the tooling, so I will load the first 10 bundles. Like quite fast, and then we have all the data immediately in our database. This is like how the raw block results look like. And what you then do, and this is probably familiar with all the people who are like working with data and SQL, you then run some basic transformations to then like extract the JSON data and put it into nicely formatted tables. We do this internally with BigQuery, and this is how it looks then. So we load the raw data, create a blocks table, where we then get all the interesting data like the block hash, block time, transactions, and so on. We then do some further computations to extract like all the raw transactions. And the last step, what we usually also do is like then decode all the events. So get everything from the begin block events, from the transaction events. And then you have like this nicely formatted table, all the relevant information, very relevant, of course, like the event type and the event attribute. And with this, you can already like do a lot of computations. For example, if you do like taxes or want to analyze certain swaps. What we already have like fully in production right now, which is like also on our mainnet, is the osmosis data set. So this is how like the ideal data set then usually looks, where we have like all the blocks, all the events. And for osmosis, for example, we have like all the swaps that ever happened. It's like currently 100 million. Looks something like this for osmosis. And if you like want to access this data set, this is like a service we provide together with the DLT, is that, for example, for BigQuery Analytics Hub, the data set is also then immediately accessible for like people who want to get started fast. if you don't want to use this or need different database, you go to the DLT, load the data into your database, and then you're already ready to query whatever you want. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I should just continue with the slideshow then, Troy. Yep. So then we come to the last slide. Like the architecture, we have like the layer with like where the nodes run and upload the data of dYdX. And this is like a big plus for like people who are already validating the dYdX chain, because then they can immediately leverage their existing infrastructure, use the existing node to upload the data they already have on the KYVE network, and of course get paid by the network for doing so. Yes, this is it so far. If there are any questions, like I'm very happy to like have now an open discussion. Yeah.
Thank you guys for this brief walkthrough. Let's now the dYdX community to ask any questions, or if they would like to jump on the stage and ask questions like vocally.
Stan, could it be that some links are blocked by Discord?
That could be the case. Feel free to share the link with me so I can share it.
Okay, then we can share like some of the resources. Also the slide to get the overview. Yep, let me do that real quick.
Absolutely. Perfect. Would you guys be able to give just some quick feedback what the users could access with those links?
Yes, sure. So what we shared now is like all the specific tools. Maybe just to quickly recap what you can do with KYVE is like KYVE provides the data lake to like all your historical blocks and block results data, which you then can access with those tools built on top of KYVE to make your life basically easier, to like speed up node syncing times by a lot. You can sync your nodes within like minutes. You can have like an always working API endpoint for like block and block results queries, and you can you can always access all the events in your data warehouse. Even if like a company providing a data is no longer available, the data will always forever be on the network and can always be fetched with the data. For example, like if you have some provider for certain events or something, when a provider stops working, you can just go to KYVE, have the data lake there, can rebuild everything, and make sure that like nothing ever gets lost again. And then we have like the 3 tools, which are currently like the 3 tools of accessing the data.
And maybe it's worth to mention that for those users, it's free to use, and that you just need to check the docs or the links we provide, and then you can just immediately start without any hurdles or issues.
Great. Thank you very much. Guys, last call for the community. Do you guys have any questions you would like to ask the KYVE team? Perfect. Well, I guess, yeah, we can can you hear?
Yes,
thank you for this presentation, guys. Did you guys also record the session?
Yes.
So I'll make sure to share it also with the dYdX community. It will be on YouTube, right? Amazing. Thank you. Well, thank you again for joining Sarah and presenting how people can use KYVE to better explore dYdX and build on dYdX. And yeah.
Then thanks for having us, and see you. Bye.
Thank you.